my name is Beck and welcome to a very quick list of 6 books for my 2022 anticipated releases. I'm going to jump straight into the first one because I've already talked about it earlier this year in some of my TBR videos because the release date got changed, or maybe I just didn't know the release date and then the website's updated. Either way, it is the next installment in the Greatcoat series. It's called Play of Shadows by Sebastian de Castell. This is a fantasy book, an adult fantasy, and it follows either a kid or some of the children from the Greatcoat series, and I loved that series. I have a review for the first book if you're interested. Trader's Blade is the name of it, and I adored it. I love the tone, I love the voice of Falkio, and I like how it was very Three Musketeers focused and it had that cool banter and energy about it. So naturally I'm looking forward to the tone and the voice of Play of Shadows by Sebastian de Castell. I don't know when it comes out, perhaps mid to late next year. It's not like an early release during the beginning of the year, but it's on my mind, it's on my radar. I'm definitely highly anticipating it and I can't wait. In addition to that, I have a very different kind of read, and it is called Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I know nothing about this one, absolutely nothing. I know that it matches the rest of the covers by V.E. Schwab. It's got that red, white and black color scheme going for it, but that is it. But because it's Victoria Schwab, I know that it's going to be good in terms of it focusing on like characters' morals and a unique potential magic system or unique characters, and so I'm looking forward to it, but I honestly couldn't tell you anything about it except that it's definitely a standalone, and that is absolutely all I know. I've seen on Victoria Schwab's Instagram that she's posted that she's got advanced reading copies and stuff, so probably reviews already exist for it if there are already arcs for it, but I haven't asked for one, I haven't got one, and I'm just waiting for the release date. I've enjoyed a lot of V.E. Schwab's work in the past, so it would surprise me if I disliked this book. The next book that I want to talk about is by Brandon Sanderson, and I have watched his YouTube channel this past year or so, and he's been talking about writing the different drafts for this book, and it's called The Lost Metal. It's the next installment in Era 2 of Mistborn. So Mistborn is The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages, and that's the first trilogy. Then we've got the second era of Mistborn, which happens about 200 to 300 years after the first trilogy. So with each new installment or installment series in the Mistborn books, you are going further and further into technological development. And so with the Alloy of Law books, there's Alloy of Law, Shadows of Self, Bands of Mourning, and now Lost Metal, which is coming out sometime during the mid to late part of 2022. Again, it's not an early year release, but I'm looking forward to it regardless, and I'm hoping to reread Mistborn in the time it takes to get to that actual book release, because I've read it obviously, but I want to reread it and then rediscover my love for it and then go into the next book with all my knowledge renewed. That is the plan. Whether it actually happens next year, it's honestly anybody's guess, because my reading this year has been super downhill. So I'm aiming to get through Mistborn, but we'll see how we go, because the first couple of books are quite chunky, but then I know Alloy of Law is slimmer and it moves a lot quicker. So his writing style really differs, and his world building and characters differ a lot from his first trilogy to his second. I feel like the tone really varies, and I like the second era more than the first. Not that I dislike the first. Either way, excited. Lost Metal, it's happening. And Mistborn, I just realized I haven't described what it is. I've just said that it's fantasy. It is an adult fantasy. In the first book, we follow Vin, and she is a street urchin. She stumbles across Kelsia, and Kelsia is leading this band of rebels to rebel against the ruler, the Lord Ruler in this world, because ages and ages ago, these heroes tried to save the world, and the heroes ultimately failed, and then the Dark One, or the Lord Ruler, effectively won, and now we are all living under his regime. And so Kelsia's like, I don't want to do that anymore. And so he's trying to lead a rebellion against the Lord Ruler so that the peoples can be free and so that the world can prosper again rather than fall into disarray. So ultimately, that's where the story sits. We've got these characters and this heist, as well as this massive political and world ramifications of what their actions will be, and I like how we get the smaller scale as well as the ripple effects in the large scale of the world. And again, we get different timelines as well, because in the first trilogy and then several hundred years later with the second trilogy, it's just really cool, and I can't wait to go back and reread it. And it's a great entry point to Sanderson too, so pick up The Final Empire. Do it. And then we have another exciting book, and that is the next installment in Saga. And Saga has been on hiatus for so long. I don't know why, but I was anticipating this when it finally came back, and I've started to see noises about it again, and I am so excited to have it come back. I don't know what month the next volume is going to actually release, but I believe it is going to be 2022. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's next year because we've heard murmurings at the end of this year. So I'm assuming after those murmurings, we're going to get something happen next year. That's what I'm assuming. Saga is a science fiction graphic novel. It's quite a popular science fiction graphic novel, but if you've not heard of it, it deals with two alien forces that are in warring planets. So there's a warring planet and a warring moon, and these two people who are both soldiers on either side fall in love, desert the war, and then have a daughter together. And because this daughter is the amalgamation of these two different alien forces that are at each other's throats, there is such a political advantage and manipulation point at getting to their daughter and using her or killing her and doing whatever they want. So they are therefore on the run, trying to protect their daughter Hazel, and all of the shenanigans that ensue are quite dark and quite interesting, and I love it. So because of the characters in that, because of the world building and the art style, I am super invested. And when I saw more murmurings on Twitter that they were potentially coming back, I could not hold back my excitement. So it is full throttle going into 2022, hopefully picking up Saga. And again, like Mistborn, I would also like to reread that one. It won't take me as long as it will take to reread Mistborn, so at least it's got that going for it. And now we've only got two more on here. So the next one is The Atlas 6, and this is a self-published fantasy book, but it's been picked up by Tor Publishing. And in Australia, I think either Harper or Hachette take on a lot of Tor titles, and predominantly the imprint that I read from is Hachette, so they do a lot of fantasy books. Hachette and Orbit are their like imprint, and I'm really looking forward to this one, but it only really came up on my radar recently, and it's because this book is a dark academia fantasy book and it's got a lot of hype lately. But I think after it goes through a publisher and it has revisions, I've seen people talk about its pace and how it could be a little bit tighter, and so I've hesitated about picking it up now because I want to read it when it's gone through more sets of eyes, and it will do that through a publisher. So I think it's going to be incredible, and I love a dark academia story. I loved Ninth House, so I think I'm going to really enjoy this one as well. That's the plan. It's probably going to be on my anticipated 5-star reads for 2022. Like, I think it's going to be a new favorite book, and if it's not, then I'm going to be quite disappointed. So I'm just going to keep my hopes up this high and hope that they follow through. And then the last book on this list is Casey McQuiston, and they've gone from writing 2 adult books into writing a young adult book. Usually it's the other way around. You go from YA into adult. Anyway, the book is I Kissed Shara Wheeler, and it's about this girl who was obviously kissed by Shara Wheeler, and then Shara Wheeler disappears, and so this girl has to try and find her. And Shara Wheeler also kissed a couple of boys and this girl as well, so all of them band together. I think there's a trio of them, and they try and find her because she's gone missing or she's gone awry or something. I don't know if it's necessarily like a crime murder mystery, like she has gone missing. It's more of like a affluent mystery that they are all involved in. So I'm looking forward to reading that one, and it's probably the only contemporary that I'm massively hyped for because I really like Casey McQuiston. I really loved their other books, One Last Stop and also Red, White and Royal Blue, and I'm really looking forward to what they come out with next. And so Shara Wheeler is on this list because why wouldn't she be? So thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your anticipated releases are for next year down below. I would be interested to know because I always inevitably miss things on this list. I don't research it enough or for as long as I should before I sit down in front of the camera and put my list together. So let me know what you're looking forward to. I would be interested to find out. But again, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye.